left here. It is like a summer's day right now. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm here at the vineyard, one of my favourite places to hang out and do a little bit of cooking. One of my very, very favourite products to cook on outside is my cob. Love that cob. I've had it for about 6 years now. Love it. So whilst I'm cooking, I just wanted to take the opportunity to introduce myself to those of you who don't know who I am. So I am Mark from Vanlife Eats, and I've spent a lifetime, literally a lifetime, learning new recipes and cooking. Putting that lid on always helps heat things up a little bit quicker in the cob. I've been using the cob now for about 6 years. Love it. It's my outdoor cooking device of choice. It's a barbecue, it's a grill, it's an oven. I'm cooking something in a pan on there. So versatile, it just fits in this little bag. Perfect for transporting in the camper van. I cannot say enough good words about them. I think they're absolutely amazing product, brilliant. So I've never worked in a kitchen. I've never ever wanted to work in a kitchen. I've never fancied the long hours, cooking the same repetitive dishes, and I know it gets more exciting when you go more up the ranks and become Michelin star chef, or you work in a fine dining restaurant where you've got some control over the menu, but that's not enough for me. I love new flavours. I love experiencing new foods and learning new recipes, and I need to cook these things every day. So working in a kitchen it's just never been for me. I've always been about the travelling and taking my taste buds on wild adventures. I am that annoying guy that will ask in the restaurant, what's your family specialty? Make me something that your family like to eat, and just love experiencing new food and new flavours. So I've done that I've done it all my life. So in the early noughties, sort of 25 years ago, I travelled around the UK and I just went on a food adventure. I was trying every local delicacy. I tried all the regional favourites, and I mean, it was amazing, but it was before the days of having the GoPro and being able to easily document what you're doing. So I'm re-exploring that now, and I'm loving going back to those places that I remember were amazing, and catching it all and documenting it on a video is just an awesome way of doing this. I love it. So even though I've never trained as a chef, I have been to the best culinary school in the world, and that is the Culinary School of Nonna. There's nowhere better. Nonna knows best. All of those recipes that I've learned from my Nonna since I was 3 years old, waking up on a Saturday morning and smelling all that ragu that she was making in the house, and Nonna, how are you making that special ragu? How are you making the special meatballs? How do you make that amazing lasagna? It's just an amazing upbringing where food was a massive part of our family. But it's not just the food and the cooking, it was all about the hosting. It was all about every Sunday 25 plus people all gathering around a table where Nonna and my aunties are all in the kitchen, they're all cooking. Every Sunday was like a movie scene. Incredible, loved it. But that hosting plays an important part of what's happened to me as I've grown up. So as I did grow up, I was a teenager cooking for friends, cooking for family, learning new recipes. I remember at school I was just really over ambitious, and in cookery class I made something that our family recipe that we make called a trippette, and it's like pancakes filled with mozzarella and covered in a tomato, and I made a massive tray of that, whereas everyone's made like scones and bread and like pretty simple stuff, which is what I was expected to do, but not me. I had to make a massive tray of trippette, and I had to let all my friends try it, and the teacher trying it, and it was amazing. And if any of my school friends are watching, please get back in touch with me. But and especially if you're on the school bus on the day when I dropped it. that's just me, butterfingers. But yeah, just growing up into a teenager and leaving school, I was always that person that when we went out, I would make sure that we go back to someone's house and I'm going to cook for everyone, and I'd cook for everyone. We all had a few drinks and so on, and it was usually something really over ambitious, and after a few drinks, yeah, a bit of this, bit of that, and it'll come out all right, and everyone thought it tasted good, so I was happy. So then into my 20s, that was when I was really exploring everywhere. I travelled around Greece, spent a lot of time in Europe, and then most of my travels were really around the UK. Like I said to you before, I was just going everywhere I possibly could that was famous for food and trying that local regional produce or delicacy, or even as far as talking to families and getting family recipes. So really that's where my love from vans came from, really, was just travelling all around the UK. I used to sleep in the back of my Vauxhall Astra, the seats folded flat in the back there, and it was perfect little camping, micro camper, it was great. But we used to park up at the rugged coastlines and just everywhere. There was no parking restrictions back then, you could park anywhere, it was so easy. Amazing times. So growing up into an adult, I was just obsessed with cookery shows. I've been obsessed with eating out at luxurious places. I've been non-stop food, day after day, watching every episode of MasterChef, UK, US, and the Australian one. Love the Australian one. Every episode of the Great British Menu. You know, I was just obsessed with watching cooking, replicating the dishes in my kitchen. I used to be obsessed with a program called Market Kitchen, and I used to, it was on every day, and I would literally copy it. Everything they'd cook on there, I lived above Waitrose as well, so it's so handy. I'd just nip down and just make what they'd made on the show. Loved it. So later in life, when I kind of moved to van life, by accident, I had no idea people were living in vans. Just was a thing that accidentally came to me. I felt like I invented van life. But then when I found YouTube channels and things, I discovered other people were in the same situation. And then other people are actually living it in an amazing way and just doing some amazing travels. And I was like, yes, I need some of that. So I ended up converting the van. This was back in 2018. I had this little T4 that was actually a caravel. It had like a minibus really. So I ripped all the seats out, stopped off at Mum's. Mum, I'm not staying, but the seats are. Ripped all the seats out and got an old butcher's block. Just everything was a bit makeshift, and I got hold of this rock and roll bread game changer. Amazing little van, but eventually I got fed up of just crawling around on my knees. Needed something bigger, needed a bigger kitchen. So when I first met Sophie, I naturally wanted to impress her with these romantic meals in the van that we were doing. So I always wanted to make something amazing for her. And I was following recipes, as you normally do, and I was finding that I couldn't find anything that was campervan friendly. things like no oven, get precious gas, precious water. I mean, water was a nightmare to find, as a lot of van lifers will know. So it did come to a point where I was just modifying recipes here and there. Classic recipes that I've made in the past, I was adapting them to work in a camper van. And I'm a bit geeky with some things, so I started making a website. And with that website, I was then able to just pump all of those recipes into it for easy access. So that really was the birth of Vanlife Eats. So for Vanlife Eats, we decided it'd be a really nice idea if we were sharing what other people were cooking in their van. I was keen to know, what do you cook in your van? What do you cook in your van? What do you cook in your van? And some of it was quite shocking. Some of it was some people living off of pot noodles, not naming any names. But it's because cooking in a tiny kitchen does come with a lot of challenges. So I kind of felt it upon me to work it all out and find the products that were good to use. When I first started, and I always say this when I do my demos, but I literally went to the camping shop and I brought little tin camping stuff that's small, compact, would fit in my T4 cupboards. Didn't have a great deal of room in that van. So it was important to me to get something that wasn't going to be too big and bulky and I'll be climbing around. But I did find that because I cook every day, it was tarnishing quickly, it was denting where it was falling, it was just didn't last. In fact, it was just tin crap, to be honest. So I went and bought a load of professional gear. I brought all of the heavy duty stuff and I was climbing around it. It was great, loved cooking in it, amazing. But it just was too heavy and it just wasn't practical. So I then spent a lot of money trying different products. Never had any endorsements with anyone. I literally used my money buying that product, tested it, yay or nay. There was a lot of nays, unfortunately. I spent a lot of money. So actually some of the content I was putting up on Vanlife Eats is probably quite valuable to people because it's not going to be, it's going to save you money because you're not going to go and buy something that make the same mistake that I made. So I may not be trained as a chef, but actually I spent 3 years of my life training to be a dietitian and nutritionist. I've always suffered with food sensitivities and I love food so much that I don't want a list of foods I can't eat. I still want to eat everything. So I spent a long time trying to combat that. I have got on top of that now and I'm feeling so much better. It did turn out that it was the supermarkets that are poisoning me. I found that things like bread, I'd eat supermarket bread. I'd be really uncomfortable and have a bad stomach, but I'd make bread and it's fine. So it can't be gluten, even though like doctors and people were saying it's gluten, but I was always interested in that food science. So I did become a fully qualified dietitian and nutritionist, which plays a massive role into my cooking, huge. All of the cooking techniques and everything, I have learnt that over the years, you know, cooking since holding a knife when I was 3 years old. My nonna showed me how to cook. My mum was also a home cook as well, so I was always helping my mum in the kitchen. She would always cook fresh. She always taught me never to go with those, she used to call, I think she still does call them, ping dinners. I think she's microwave dinners. So she always cooked fresh, so she's a really big influence on me. And that taught me not to ever buy jarred sauces, packeted sauces, and never done any of that. Always cook fresh. And I love it. There you are, you've learnt a lot about me today and how I just don't stop cooking and how I love cooking for other people. Nobody goes hungry when they're in my van. So that's me. I live full time in my van. I travel, I cook, I see people, I feed them. I'm happy. This is good. Really good. Try and cover the camera because it's quite windy. This is such a beautiful vineyard. This is Denbies. This is what it's like all over Minori and the Amalfi Coast, which is where my family are from. Just vineyards, lemon groves, beautiful. It's just a lovely thing to see when you're walking. I love it. So my family are from Minori on the Amalfi Coast, which has become a real culinary hotspot for chefs to go and learn authentic, real authentic Italian cooking. Right, Minori's right on the coast, but the villages either side, you'll go to Amalfi and you'll buy a postcard and a ceramic lemon, and then you'll go to Maori, which is the other village on the other side, and again you'll buy postcards and a fancy bottle of limoncello. But you go to Minori and you'll buy a real rustic bottle of limoncello. You'll see old ladies going up the steps into the mountains with big crates of lemons, and they just power past you while you're huffing and panting going up there. It's just my auntie Ursula Ferrigno said it right. She said it's a crumbly old village, and it is. It's just like an ancient old village. It's absolutely beautiful. It's been made famous by a chef you will know. It's Jamie Oliver. So Jamie Oliver went to Minori to learn to cook, and he was mentored by Gennaro Contaldo. Gennaro, you may know Gennaro Contaldo, maybe not. He's a very, very good chef. So Jamie Oliver and Gennaro Contaldo are on TV all the time doing cooking. So quite often when you'll see Jamie Oliver cooking something, it'll be very, very similar to something like my nan would make, or my granddad, my nonno. But he would always add like a splodge of cottage cheese or something just to add his touch on it. Jamie, I know what you're doing. It's fine. But I'm all about authentic sometimes. But so my family have got quite a rich kind of culinary connection there. My other family member I just mentioned, Ursula Ferrigno, she is a well-established cookbook author. She's got loads of cookbooks. My favourite is Cucina di Amalfi. Amazing cookbook. Get it on Amazon because it's incredible. Really good, authentic Italian recipes. Love it. And she teaches people to cook. She teaches Italians to cook in Italy. So yeah, I always say we've got ragu in the blood, haven't we? So this is the part where you might want to get out your tiny weeny little violin, because there is a side to me that is a massive part of my life and a real struggle. I am actually registered disabled. In 2020, I had pneumonia. I spent weeks in the back of my van, pretty much dying, texting people saying I'm fine, don't worry, but actually like it was a lot worse than I thought it was. And what happened was I ended up damaging my heart. I've now got an inflamed heart muscle. That I don't really notice, but I have to take medication for that now. But the thing that does bother me is that I've just got widespread pain constantly. It's called fibromyalgia. There are people with it, and there's people with it way worse than me. Really, I'm quite lucky, but I have this continuous pain, particularly in my chest, and the pain is just draining. So I have to take medication. I've tried quite a lot of different medication. I've been in and out of hospital a lot. They've done a lot of tests, and it is a struggle to get through the day. Full-time work. I actually went through 3 full-time jobs, and I just can't get through the day. Particularly because of the stress and things like that, and any anxiety, things like that will just flare up the pain. The doctors have told me that I'm never going to work again. I'm not having that. However, cooking Cooking's a passion. Cooking's something that I love. Cooking is something that I can do without any pain. It's almost therapeutic to me. So actually, because I think I'm so into showing people how to cook things, teaching people techniques, things that I've learned over the years, I'm just really, really passionate about sharing that. So you see me a lot on Vanlife Eats. That's because I'm just putting all my love and efforts into this. I don't make any money from the festival. The festival that we run is purely a celebration of the brand. All the money from ticket sales just go into all the expenses involved in running a festival and adding quality to the event. Not here to justify ticket sales and things like that. I'm purely just here to let you know that this is my day-to-day life in the van, full-time, struggling with my illness, but finding therapy in cooking.